And welcome back to Who Will Win. Today's Who Will Win comes to us from, I just realized I didn't have the names up there when I looked at that. Okay, then it comes to us from M. Myers and Devil Kruger, who asked the question, who would win a fight? And I'm sure maybe someone else gave it to him, gave me a suggestion, but I couldn't find him. Who would win a fight, Hellboy or Jason Voorhees? As always, I don't composite Jason, I just use other versions of Jason. Hellboy or Anar Raman, I might be or Rama, I might be butchering his true name, is a half human, half demon. Was born obviously was born in the comics to a witch and a demon, and was found when he was summoned by Rasputin during World War II, and is now a protector. He fights things that go bump in the night. As a half human, half demon, he has he looks demonic, obviously, but he's more human in nature than demonic. Obviously, his human traits outweigh his demonic traits. He has enhanced strength, agility, durability. He can take most small arms fire, but he can still be injured by other weapons like blades, hammers. He can still very much be injured by that. He does have an enhanced healing factor, though, so he can recover from them within a short amount of time relative to being injured. Like, he'll nurse those injuries within a couple hours, usually. Major wounds will take longer to heal. Unfortunately, I don't believe he can regenerate lost limbs, but the right hand of Doom, I believe it is completely indestructible. It can be cut off from his body, though, which I believe has happened before, but it itself is indestructible, as it's a key. I was supposed to say Daredevil. Hellboy, though, is skilled in most forms of combat. He's a solid hand-to-hand fighter, although more of a brawler than anything else. He's a skilled marksman. He's got his trusty pistol, which usually has specialty bullets in there made for, the supernatural. He's also skilled in armed combat, things like blades, knives, mostly blades, like swords or spear or hammer or an axe, something like that. He's also a skilled exorcist as well. He knows how to exorcise souls and can perform pretty advanced ones when given enough time. He can also reanimate dead bodies. He's got a large and vast amount of the knowledge of the occult. And he's just overall, he's a tough dude. You should listen to your guy Hellboy. He's a tough dude. Jason, we've been over Jason God knows how many times, but Jason Voorhees was a would special needs be the right way to refer to Jason? I think special needs might be the right way. He doesn't have downs as far as we know. In fact, it's not even stated what he really had, but it is stated that he wasn't as mentally capable as someone of his age should have been. He was slower for some reason. He was also deformed, too. Because as an adult, Jason is more or less just a child in a grown man's body, in a giant murderous rampager's body. But going by the normal series, by the end of the original series, which would end at Jason X, not Jason, sorry, Jason Goes to Hell. Jason basically turned out to be a demonic entity. Like, Jason's spirit was basically had become a demon, and he could not be slain by any normal means in the universe. Even being blown up didn't do anything, because the spirit would just possess someone else and go to the next individual, unless he was stabbed by a special dagger with a special dagger by a Voorhees, and then he went straight to hell. As such, he was pretty much nigh indestructible. He could just tank a lot of damage, he barely felt pain, and he was physically a monster, able to rip people in half. Just throw those giant dome jungle gyms, throw it in half, throw it around. Which you might not think is an amazing feat, but actually is a very impressive feat when you think about what those things are made of, how awkward it is for them to be moved around. It was actually a very impressive feat in terms of physicality. Then you get Jason X, who will just go straight to Uber Jason, is arguably the strongest version of Jason we have. He is... it should also be noted, Jason allegedly has the ability to teleport, and in the games he does. But the games are strictly made for the fans. They're not canon to anything. And there's no actual evidence to say evidence isn't the right term. There's nothing that is clearly stated that he has the ability to teleport. Now, if he does, he can only do it for short distances, and most likely what it is that he can do it within a line of sight. That seems to be what it is, because if he could just teleport wherever he wants, he'd find everyone everywhere and just slaughter them as long as they're near his area of, the hunting grounds he likes to have it. Or likes to frequent. That being said, big words. Jason X, Jason, or Uber Jason basically got enhanced with, they didn't really say what exactly got enhanced. It was like healing bacteria mixed with metal. So they basically turned him into a cyborg, which gave him even further enhanced strength, punching a cyborg's head off, ripping through a metal door, if I'm not mistaken, surviving re-entry into a planet's atmosphere, hucking giant trees, not even logs, giant trees at people, and just skewering on them. Like, Jason X, Uber Jason is friggin' tough. So there's that. Then you get the Reboot Jason, which is human. He's got all the standard Jason fare. He's got his machete, but he's also a woodsman, so he's got a crossbow, an axe. He's a woodsman. He's also the fastest version of Jason we see, as he's the only one we ever see running. He's not supernatural as far as we know, but he is still built like a brick shithouse. And yeah, he's just a scary dude. And then there's the comic interpretations of Jason, which, depending on where you look, he once got turned into a Deadite. The standard version, though, his main specialty, or the main thing that separates him, I should say, from the other Jason, is his healing factor is off the charts. In fact, I believe that Uber Jason once actually killed a different version of him, like I think a clone of him, and then put the remaining part of his brain in hit Jason. I think that's how that worked. If I'm remembering correctly, which I'm probably not. But he can literally get chopped down the middle and just put himself together, and he'll heal within a matter of seconds to minutes. It's pretty close to a Wolverine type of healing factor, where most wounds will just start healing immediately. Not to say he can't be killed, but it'd be near impossible to do it. So who wins in a fight against these guys? Well, let me start out with the big hitter first. The Uber Jason versus Hellboy. The problem here is that the Uber Jason isn't really classified in a supernatural aspect as the rest of the, even because you at least have that ending where Jason pops out of the water in the reboot. In this, they just say that there's something off about his blood and that he has advanced healing capabilities, but they never actually say whether or not this is canon with the majority of the other films. At best, it's probably canon with the third film and the first to third film, because after that's when they start getting into the resurrecting of Jason Voorhees. The fourth film, because that's when they start getting into the resurrecting of Jason Voorhees, all that, and turning him into a zombie and a force of nature. So that's the thing, is that it's never really stated how canon Jason X is supposed to be to the rest of the previous series. It's clearly not canon with the last three films in the series. Jason X, Jason Goes to Hell, Takes Manhattan. Was it New Blood? I think that which one was it? Jason Lives, I think. Either way, the seventh one, because Manhattan was 8 and Goes to Hell was 9. It's clearly not canon within those films, as you can just see from the plot points. But regardless, Uber Jason, I think, is just too much. None of Hellboy's bullets are going to do anything. While his arm is indestructible, it might be able to kind of dent Jason a little bit. Ding, maybe actually do a little bit of damage. It really wouldn't make that big a difference in the long term. Because even if he could do some minor damage, Jason allegedly still has a healing factor. So you add a healing factor onto the metal body, and it does... It does make a bit of a difference. Hellboy, unfortunately, would just be at a losing fight and eventually just get ripped in half, or just have an arm punched through his chest, or just ripped to pieces. So on that guy, I gotta go Uber Jason. Now for the rest of them, though, Jason Goes to Hell. Oh, I forgot Freddy versus Jason. That Jason is technically that Jason is canon to Jason Goes to Hell. So I mean, it's theoretically the same Jason, but I always kind of count it as different, because that Jason, the real key difference here is that Jason allegedly is afraid of water. Now, don't get me wrong. I, like many other people, understand how stupid that really is when you look at the context of the entire series. But that is what they say in Freddy vs. Jason, so we'll use that. So let's just go down the list from here, though, because we got the obvious win for Jason out of the way. Let's look at everything else. Let's actually look at the weakest version now, the Reboot Jason. This Jason, Unfortunately, this Jason would probably lose pretty hard to Hellboy. Like, he's pretty fast and he's pretty strong, but Hellboy easily could just take his hand, crush it within the right hand to do him, and just throw him around, just beat him to a bloody pulp, just shoot him straight on. Granted, his bolts are not designed to like really kill people. I mean, they could, but they're not really designed for it. They're designed to hurt the supernatural, which Reboot Jason surprisingly is not. So, it probably would just be, more superficial, but it would still hurt. If you shot him in the head, it might still kill him. But ultimately, I do see Hellboy winning in the fight against the Reboot Jason. So that's one Jason, one Hellboy. Now we got the big 3. We got Jason Goes to Hell, Freddy versus Jason, and Comic Jason. Let's look at Jason Goes to Hell Jason first. Strength-wise, these guys are actually probably very well within range of each other. Hellboy's probably got the edge, though, as we've seen, at least just from the movies alone, him doing some strength feats that we'd have never seen Jason pull off. The best strength feats I've seen Jason pull off, I never really read the comic. I know about the Comic Jason, but I've never really read him, so I don't know about any of the strength feats. But the best strength feats we've seen Jason pull off involve usually throwing bodies huge distances. That bed snapping in half is an impressive feat. I think he did once flip over a car or something, a vehicle of some kind. I do remember that, I think. And then obviously you get Uber Jason and all that, but we've already done Uber Jason. We're talking about like main series and all that. There actually aren't. We know that Jason's is super powerful in terms of his strength, but I actually don't think he really measures up to Hellboy at all in terms of strength. Durability-wise, these guys are actually probably on par with each other, but Hellboy's got the advantage of his arm being indestructible. If he's going to block, he can just block like that and just smack him around. Now, the thing here is that Hellboy would probably be able to put him down initially. Shoot him. He's supernatural at this point. We're not doing a supernatural version of Jason. So one of the bullets would most likely actually hurt him pretty effectively. And then he can just smash his face in. But when the demon of Jason comes out, Hellboy's not super enough to be possessed by him. Oh, God, no. There's no way Hellboy, with all of his experience in the occult, would let that happen. Plus, he himself is part demon. But he sees the demon come out, and he actually just grabs it and just crushes it in his hand. Because that's the thing. I don't know if someone tried to, like, maybe stab or kill the demon, maybe that would work. But even if that doesn't work, he could just exorcise the demon itself. He could exorcise Jason, because he knows how to do that. So, I gotta put that one into Hellboy's camp. That one's got to go to Hellboy. But look at Freddy versus Jason, that's not saying much more, unfortunately, because he's pretty much the same Jason, although he looks different. And he's got a fear of water. Not that would play a factor. I think eventually this would come down to, again, Hellboy probably just smacking him around, either taking his head off or just blowing his head off. Because in a hand-to-hand combat and in terms of durability, both these guys are pretty tough. I'd argue Hellboy survived a lot worse than Jason has. Apart from, like, short of being blown up. That's the only thing Jason survived. That's only because of the nature of Jason in that movie. And surviving in the Earth's atmosphere, but we've already done Uber Jason. If we're talking about, like, the main series, non-super Jason, like, a cyborg Jason, Hellboy, I'd argue, has survived a lot more than... Because he's also had a longer comic run, too, than Jason has. So, on that grounds, I got to go Hellboy. Now we got the comic Jason. Now, obviously, Hellboy's kind of getting the majority, but do I think that Jason from the comics can pull out a win? And I'll say this. His generating healing abilities will make him very difficult to put down. Hellboy's pretty much going to have to take his head off and crush his brain for it to be done. And even then, I don't know if that's a guarantee. Because I think the comic Jason is still supernatural, so the bullets should at least have some effect on him. But they probably aren't going to like put on like the killing blow or anything like that. If Hellboy can exorcise him, yeah, absolutely. Otherwise, nothing short of like a headshot and like taking that off and crushing it is going to put Jason down. Nothing short of that's going to do it. But Hellboy is also not an idiot. I think a lot of us forget that Hellboy, despite his brutish nature, is not an idiot. He's not a dumbass. He is actually a pretty good tactician. So my money would probably be on Hellboy. He would probably keep his distance after he realized this guy's healing, probably just tie him up, trap him, and then probably blow his head off, or exercise whatever supernatural entity is in him, or exercise the supernatural entity that is Jason itself. So my money would probably be on Hellboy in this fight. But that is just my opinion. What do you think in the comments below? Until then, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe. As always, if you want us to review something, put in the comments below. Let us know. We'll do a review of it at some point. Hit that bell if you want to be notified. Thanks for watching. I'll see you folks later. The West Side Story review should be up by now. So thanks for watching. I'll see you later.